April admissions stats. That is the topic of today's video. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. I put air quotes around stats in April from admissions offices because they're completely fake. Completely fake. If statistics are actually released in the press releases that colleges are putting out, they are very much subject to change by the end of April at the earliest, and certainly by May and or June, and definitely by September when the census goes through, because these are periods of great flux and wait lists and so on and so forth. And therefore, any college or university that is putting out news release and having an admissions official speak to the campus or student newspaper during the month of April is being fast and loose with the facts. Because at the end of the day, the colleges usually are going to have a great deal of change in their overall admitted first-year class by the end of April for sure. And definitely into the May month and June as well, because there is always something called summer melt, where students who said they were coming do not come, waitlist spots move. So just be aware of the fact that you should be very dubious about any statistics put out by admissions offices in the month of April. Many colleges don't even attempt to put out statistics anymore, interestingly enough. I mean, let's use Princeton and Penn, two Ivy League institutions, as an example or two. These are colleges that are actually really proud of the fact that in recent years and cycles, they just don't even attempt to share brass tacks statistics about the excellence of the students that they've admitted or the nature of their class. They will put out a couple for, the fans, as they say. They'll put out statistics about, we had more applications this year than ever, or our entering class will have someone from every state or every country, something that's sort of headline grabbing. But that will basically be the extent of it, particularly at those two schools that I just mentioned. Now, there are some schools that are not as highly ranked on lists that matter to people, and they put out a lot of statistics, usually in April. But even those colleges, there will be changes in terms of how many more students they have to accept over the coming weeks based off of how many students do or do not ultimately accept their offers of admission. So be, again, very doubtful, very dubious about statistics put out in April. I want to also sort of add to that and simply say that the colleges that are really proud of the fact that they are no longer reporting their admission statistics, I very philosophically disagree with their approach. I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And I think sunlight should be shining throughout this process. If it is, parents and students can make the right choices for themselves when empowered with the knowledge that they need to move forward. But as much as there is talk every year from different colleges and universities about being student and applicant centered, at the end of the day, these are institutions with their own institutional priorities, and they are not student or applicant centered. They are institution centered. As I often always say as well, he who has the gold makes the rules. Well, who is paying these individuals' salaries in these admissions offices? Again, I'm not saying any of these are bad people. I'm just simply saying they report to their superiors, which are at the institution. They don't get paid by the students or parents directly. They get paid by the institution. The institution has its priorities. That's completely fair. But at the end of the day, there's not going to be much in the way of valuable statistics shared in the month of April. And again, some colleges don't even pretend to share statistics anymore, as opposed to just putting out press releases that exalt the class of 2028, or next year will be the class of 2029, and how awesome it is and how great a job we did of selecting the best of the best. But then they never back it up any longer with proof. They never back it up, at least not at the same time. Maybe later in the cycle when the census has to be reported, they will ultimately share what percentage of students did or did not submit SAT or ACT scores. That's important. What the actual demographic breakdown of the class is in terms of in-state students versus out-of-state students for a public college, or just students overall for any private college. Just where are the students coming from? What are their statistics? What makes them so awesome? Why, are there objective reasons these students are awesome, or is it just a popularity contest? Yeah, it is. So ultimately, I think that you just have to be very, suspect of statistics put out in April. But interestingly, again, there are colleges that don't even attempt to put out statistics anymore. They don't even try. They just are completely running on fumes and their prestige from past generations. And they are going to keep running on that until the goodwill of the public is exhausted. And someone at some point is going to raise their hand and say, can you show us proof why the Princeton class of 2028 is markedly more impressive than the University of Alabama class of 2028? Or the University of Florida class of 2028? Like, can you show us all the data? Show us the data. Show us why, objectively. And again, ultimately, the SAT and ACT scores averages will be higher. That will pan out of the students who were required to submit scores. But overall, we'll never know. We'll never know, will we? We'll never know. So for you as a consumer, I want you to power forward. Obviously, continue to gather information that will help you better conceptualize your chances or your students' chances of getting into a particular college on your students' list in the future if you're not currently a high school senior. If you are currently a high school senior, fight like heck to get off a wait list. Wait lists do move, as I've mentioned in previous videos. And I will do a future video on trends, but this year in particular, I'm seeing a lot of waitlist offers, many more so than I've seen in past years. So we'll see what happens, but fight to the last, and don't get distracted by statistics that make you feel less than. If you do not get into a school on your list and that school put out a press release about how awesome their entering class is, instead, keep your eye on the prize. Your prize is ultimately trying to achieve what you want. If you can't get in off a wait list and you're still fighting to get off a wait list, then certainly use the month of April not to pour over admission statistics, but instead, if you're a high school senior or a parent of a high school senior, use the month of April to visit the colleges you have earned admission into. All right, and see what awesome opportunities may exist for you on those college campuses. Because hopefully you had a good list, and hopefully all the colleges on your list presented value added for you, your family, your value system, your budget. So hopefully there will be a lot of interesting attributes to all the colleges you have been accepted in, so that in the event you don't get into a college that maybe has put you on the wait list, even if you do write a letter of continuing interest and you do fight to the last to earn admission there, you're going to still deposit most likely at a school by May 1st or thereabouts, and ultimately be really excited to go to that particular school if that is where ultimately you are headed for fall 2024, and therefore ultimately with your goal of graduating in May, maybe spring of 2028. Of course, you may be watching this video in the future, and this could apply to you too. You would just change the years, but keep your eye on the prize in the month of April, and do not confuse robust and comprehensive admission statistics with anything, most notably press releases, that colleges put out in the month of April, exalting the great work that they did or the amazing attributes of their entering students, because ultimately we don't know who's going where yet. It's April. My name is Craig Meister. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing to my channel. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process, you should go to my website, which is collegemeister.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free throughout the entire college admissions process.